Throughout the years, National Lampoon produced some media that could only be heard through the ears. This is through the form of audio. This audio was pressed into records, recorded onto cassettes, and burned onto CDs. And this physical media is what we're going to be discussing first. Unlike books where there isn't necessarily a huge amount of information on the more obscure ones, audio is a bit more interesting to talk about. Or I actually cared about looking into it, but I digress. When you research the albums National Lampoon released, you will most likely see these repeated searches. One of them being soundtracks. There's a vacation soundtrack, with some actually having the European soundtrack included, and of course Christmas Vacation. I couldn't seem to find a Vegas Vacation one. Then there's Animal House, Van Wilder, Rise of Taj, Senior Trip, Electric Apricot, Robodoc, and the Endless Bummer OST, which, when you think about it, that's probably the only reason half of these movies made any money is selling the official soundtrack. There also seems to be the CD versions of the National Lampoon live comedy shows. Then the other ones you will most likely see are Radio Dinner, Lemmings, Missing White House Tapes, Gold Turkey, Goodbye Pop, That's Not Funny, That's Sick, Greatest Hits of National Lampoon, The White Album, Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll, and the End of the World, Lost Tapes Volume 1 and 2, the classic National Lampoon 4 CD box set, Buy This Box or We'll Shoot This Dog, the best of the National Lampoon Radio Hour, and, miscellaneous. These were all comedy albums that were either compilations, hits from the radio hour, or just original material. My personal favorites being the official National Lampoon stereo test and demonstration record and tape. Of course, there's the singles. These all derive from the albums or the movie soundtracks. Some unknown ones are the series of True Facts. You heard me say True Facts a dozen times last video, but I never mentioned what it is. In the magazine, National Lampoon had a True Facts section in some of its issues. These were absurd but true facts. Well, for a while they had records that had true facts on it. Well, these weren't for sale, but I believe they gave these to networks to air on the radio. Then there's the series of records called In-Store Airplay. These were records with actual music on it, and according to Discogs, it was promoting the artists that were featured in the magazine. And finally, here's some random promotional records I found. Let's move on to their shows. Radio Hour was a weekly radio show that lasted from November of 1973 to December of 1974. It was basically just a comedy show that starred some of the original funny guys. John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, and more. In 2008, National Lampoon had a comedy radio show called National Lampoon Comedy Radio, and it was on XM 154. National Lampoon's Final Edition Radio Hour was another radio show which lasted from 2015 to 2020. From what I can tell, all of it is backed up on Acast. In 2019, there is a reboot of the radio show in the form of a podcast, a live show, and also a video series, which the video show used to be on the National Lampoon YouTube channel, but it seems they purged a lot of their content because I can't seem to find it anywhere. And that's audio. It's a small footnote in National Lampoon history. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot more to talk about, so I'm going to take off my headphones for today. But put your peepers on for the next video as we finally talk about National Lampoon Strip Poker. Yes, the porn episode.